Continue now with our lead story, the grievance industry and some civil rights organizations not dealing with the core problems in the African-American community. With us now are Lewis-McCoy, a professor of sociology and black studies at the City College of New York. All right, so what was your reaction to the interview with Mr. Porter?
I think the interview with Mr. Porter was good on a number of levels. One, Mr. Porter talked about the ways in which corporations can work together in the conflicts. But I think what's important is that Mr. Porter pointed out that there has been a historic tension between Al Sharpton and Lil Wayne. If we look back to 2007, Al Sharpton leads a campaign about decency in hip-hop. In fact, his first goal is to say, we're going to protest companies that don't clean up their act. Immediately, he gets a response that says, look, if you don't understand the culture, if you don't talk to people, you can't simply talk about wiping the slate clean.
Okay, that was 2007. But now he's in business with a company who debases the culture.
In fact, now he has a book deal with Cash Money Books. I don't know. That's not a publisher that I'm familiar with.
No, but
with that being said, but
Sharpton, so now he's in business with a company.
He is, and I think what's important about that is that you have. It doesn't bother me.
It does not.
The first reason is that Al Sharpton is an iconic civil rights figure.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne is an iconic hip-hop generation figure. They've had conflict. There's been tension between the two. This actually may mark a point in which people find common ground, in which culture and attitudes and discussions about hip-hop and social movements comes to a head. I actually see collaboration where there's been tension before, and there's greater chance.
All right,
for
so
the
you think that from
community.
within, Al Sharpton may be able to change it?
I think that they both have to change, and I think that they're meeting. There's a nexus happening here that's unprecedented.
Why, over the past 50 years, has the out of wedlock birth rate gone up 50% from 25 to 75, approaching 75 in the African-American community?
But it's on the decline now, Bill. You realize that?
No, it isn't.
It is.
Last Center for Disease Control statistics say it's going back up again. But let's not quibble over a couple of decimal points. Why is the big rise?
I think one of the reasons we have is that we know now it's not compulsory for women to marry. Both white women and black women are opting out of marriage. With an increase in unmarried women, you also see a shift in the number of out-of-wedlock births. With that being said,
do you feel that's a poverty driver?
No, I think poverty relates to the marriage rate, but poverty is at the root. I think when you have people who are located in places where they have low access to jobs, low access to quality schools, and low access to health care, they're much less likely to come together.
So you don't think that black women having babies out of wedlock, no father in the home, drives poverty? You don't believe
You have it backwards. It's actually the poverty that increases the chances that someone would not get married.
Okay, so I don't really understand that, because if you're poor, there are a lot of poor people in other countries that don't do this. All right. When was the last time you saw a major civil rights organization trying to discourage African-American women from getting pregnant out of wedlock? When was the last time you saw it?
I don't know if I've seen the discouragement of out-of-wedlock births. I have seen the encouragement of marriage. I have seen an emphasis on jobs.
But it's a pretty big problem, wouldn't you say?
Right, but the problem is actually fixed by the solution of jobs, the creation of the economic safety net. It's not fixed by telling people to get married. If two people are poor and don't have jobs, don't have access to economy, if we fetishize a wedding and marriage, you bring two poor people together who don't have enough to cover their costs or cover the cost of a child.
You might have a structure then that encourages improvement, and that's my people and your people.
I think the structure is important, but the content is even more important.
If you have a young child, black, white, doesn't matter what color they are, and they can't read well and they can't speak English and they have tattoos all over them, it's going to be hard for them.
Children with tattoos all over them?
Yeah.
Like, Bill, there's actually laws against that.
No, they're broken quite often. It's going to be hard for them to get jobs, all right? So the cultural debasement that we see is influencing how people get jobs.
In fact, I don't think it's the cultural debasement that you're thinking about.
You don't think Lil Wayne is debasing your culture?
I don't think Lil Wayne is the primary driver of my culture, of African Americans. By any means.
Is Lil Wayne debasing African American culture?
I don't know what you define as African American culture, but I don't see him as emblematic of it.
Opinion?
Is he emblematic of African American culture? No.
Okay, so he's not having any influence, he and his ilk. No influence at all?
No, I'm not saying he's not having any influence. He's not the primary driver. He is one of many factors.
Is he debasing it?
He is one of 1,000.
Okay, you're not answering the question. All right,
sure I am, Bill. I don't think you like my answer, but I'm answering it.
Well, you're not. I asked you if he's debasing African American culture. Yes or no?
I don't think Lil Wayne is the embodiment of African American culture.
That's not a direct answer, Doctor. And if I were a student in your classroom, you'd give me a D.
Oh, I'd love for you to come.
One more question. You say that all of the chaos that's caused by crime, the birth rate, all of this stuff, is because of poverty. I say it's poverty that is coming from these things.
No, and again, you have it backwards that way.
Yeah, you say.
Yeah.
But immigrant communities historically have risen up because there has been intact family. All right?
It's not the families, it's the access to labor. And anybody who studies immigration and who studies actual jobs and employment and mobility will say the central factor is having access to quality work that provides for a family. I think you, of all people, Bill, should say we need more jobs. We need jobs that are accessible.
They're not going to hire these people because they can't do the job. The key to it is education. And education has to be encouraged in a home. If the home is drug-addled, chaotic, no supervision, there's not going to be any education. That's it, doctor.
There's education happening all the time. I study schools.
Not in these neighborhoods.
Come with me. Do you want to come? We'll go to Harlem, we'll go to Washington Heights, and we'll look at the ways in which people are trying to get educated.
I taught in a poor school. I know what's going on. All right, doctor, we appreciate your point of view, though. Thanks for coming in.